Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Cello.
Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Thank you for being here on the Day of Love, as I like to refer to it as. Welcome to my fantastic friends and spiritual family that are here with me on the screen. We have Aley from Heart and Soul Connected, Linda G, the Comanche Psychic. Every time I say that, I can't say it right. Sorry. Nancy Jean and Nancy Jean's Table. And we are here today because the month of February at Dozen Cats is about matters of the heart. So all things that lead us to our overall happiness, hopefully. And today is about me saying thank you to you, the subscribers, and to you, my friends, and my fellow people that I've worked with over the past year. I want to put some love back out. That's what I want to do today. I want to push it right back out in the universe. And so we are here, all of us wearing our hearts and red stuff. And I will bring my new puppy for y'all to meet in a couple minutes.
Cool.
Daddy's fluffing her and getting her all ready. I just got her yesterday. I'm very excited.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. Yeah.
Well, check back at the end of the week and see how good I feel.
See how, if you're happy. You were saying that the dog hasn't wet the floor. Mine's wetting the floor again, and she's 10. So.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, geez.
I know.
So I thought that a great way to start this is with I went and got a couple of quotes today. And I thought that a great way to start is with a quote that I quoted last year on Aley's show when we did a Valentine's Day special about self-love and self-care. This quote is by Meghan Markle. And I think that it is something that all of us know, but we don't often remember. And so I'm putting it out there in hopes that you sort of absorb this today. So Meghan Markle says, "We just need to be kinder to ourselves. If we treated ourselves the way that we treated our best friend, can you imagine how much better we would be?"
Yep.
Self-talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because so many of us get in our own way.
Yep. That's what I'm always saying. Get out of your way.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if I think of things I've said to myself in my head when I was setting up limiting beliefs, if anybody else walked up and said that to me, I'd slap them.
Right?
I love it. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. We're the cruelest to ourselves, really.
We really are.
Yeah. So we got to be very, very cognizant of it and try to switch the narrative. Whenever we catch ourselves, if we could switch it, that would be awesome. You know, even if it's hard to not do it.
100%. And so for those of you that follow tarot, to me, this is like a 5 of Cups lesson, right? So oftentimes it's referred to as the crying over spilt milk kind of card. And so I think to myself, you know, this is a teaching moment, a learning lesson where we can either focus on the 3 cups that have fallen over, or we can step back and gravitate towards the 2 cups that are still standing and focus on those. It's not ideal, obviously, that you've knocked some cups over, but those 2 cups that are standing, that's where the hope is. That's where the possibility is, right?
Right.
And so
I just got your place. You know, normally I post the little thing you do, and I just found it, and I just posted on my page and told everybody, "Come on down."
Well, come on down.
Come on down.
Thank you, Linda. That's very kind of you. So, Aley, for you, what does love mean?
That's a pretty big question, Kel. I really just believe that it's acceptance and compassion and kindness more than anything. I guess I'm too old at this point to think about the romantic part of it, even though it was really nice when I was younger. Right. But, you know, now it's so wonderful to have platonic love and love for each other of the community.
I love that. So when I think of love, it makes me think of hope. It makes me think of, you know, like when the sun is shining and it hasn't been shining in a week, or when it stops raining, and everything is like possibilities, right? It's this abundance of all of these little things, and if you allow yourself to notice those little possibilities, it's like the best visualization ever. If you just sort of step outside the door after a spring rain or after a summer rain, and you allow yourself to smell the scent of the rain and the earth, and smell the fragrance of the flowers, and take in the color of the flowers, and the chipmunks running up and down the tree. It's all of those things. It's hope to me. What does love mean to you, Linda?
Well, what you're discussing, in my opinion, is the connection to source, because we are all made from love. So what you're discussing is being in that quiet zone and connecting to source, because that's pure love. You can't get any better love. Like I tell people, that aha moment when you see a beautiful vista and you feel so connected to everything? That's God, so to speak. Whatever you want to call it, that's God. So the God form is nothing but love. And what I didn't realize, that it was always there, but I got my ego tied up, and I was always in a state of flux and anger, and I don't know what else. It wasn't until I almost died that I connected. Right. So love to me is unconditional. It's, we can love extremely grand, but it's not even the romantic thing. It's all about passion, because that wears off.
Yeah, it does.
It's like Eddie Murphy when he said, "Oh, I want that cracker. Oh, that's the best looking cracker, best tasting cracker I ever had." And then after a while, he says, "Yeah, it's the same old cracker." All right. So love can wear off, but true connection. And I haven't read that many people that have been in a true connection. Every once in a while, I'll read someone that really has found that partner. But sometimes in this time on Earth, we weren't meant to be. Our partner could be on the other side looking out for us.
Right.
But who you are, as far as romance is concerned, that doesn't define you. No. So sometimes you'll have something, sometimes you don't. And it's okay. It doesn't matter what way.
I love that. Wise words from Linda G. Nancy Jean, what does love mean to you?
Love means that your consciousness is raised enough that you understand you're completely tied to all your fellow human beings. And it's so the love I think the Greeks were smart. They have like 18 words for love.
Yep.
And so, you can, when you're talking about love, you can kind of clearly differentiate it. But for me, it's when you know that there's no separation between you, another human being, or the universe. And I tripped into that one day, just, and I hear what people say about past life about near-death experiences, how they came back and they all of a sudden understood all this stuff. But I just was sitting in a chair one day and I saw how it all laid out and why I was here and everything else. And the most amazing thing is I've never felt alone since then.
Wow. So you want to know what love means, really?
Little puppy.
Pardon, friends.
Hello, baby.
Meet Rosie. This is Rose.
Oh.
This is the newest addition to our family. She is 10 weeks old. She is a multi-poo, which is just the cutest thing ever. Yeah. She weighs a total of 6 pounds. She is sporting her favorite purple leash and harness, which she has only just learned how to wear a moment or two ago. And she is good as gold. Aren't you, darling?
Oh.
And she said,
you said her name is Rose? Is that what you said, Rose?
Her name is Rose.
Does she have other brothers and sisters there?
She had, unfortunately, we got her from a shelter. She had siblings, and they were rescued from via a police seizure from a backyard breeder. And so we adopted her, and we have 3 cats. So she has brothers and sisters here at home that they're not quite sure about yet. But this is Rosie, and I just got her yesterday, and everyone was asking about her, and so I thought I would introduce her to everyone all at the same time.
Perfect.
There she is. She
Hi,
did.
sweetie.
Say hi, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Oh,
Happy
she's
Love
just
Day.
adorable. So you got a rose for Valentine's Day. There
I got
you
a
go.
rose for Valentine's Day. Well, we name all of our pets after places, and there is a city in Michigan called Rose, and it fit because yesterday, today's Valentine's Day, and so
Yeah, perfect.
Mhm.
do you want to go back and see Daddy? He's perfectly comfortable in front of the camera.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they usually fall asleep on you when they're real little. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you guys, she's got her onesie on because she had her surgery already. That's what they do here at the shelters to make sure that there's no more unwanted or abused animals, right?
Yeah.
You go hang out with Daddy. Say bye, everybody. Thank you for meeting me.
Thank you for sharing her. Yeah.
Adorbs.
And she's like, I'm not leaving. Oh, she's feisty too, friends. Oh my goodness. So, here's what I want to ask, ladies. I got this quote, and I love this quote.
What?
From Robert Morley. It says, "To fall in love with yourself is the first." Whoops, Nancy Jean left us. To fall in love with yourself is the first secret to happiness.
Yeah.
We often forget not to appreciate ourselves as much as we appreciate others. We don't put in the time or the care to ourselves that we put into others. Oftentimes, especially, I would say like 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, probably not really even until the mid 80s, did women start to allow themselves to take care of themselves in that kind of way, because oftentimes we beat ourselves up for people deem it to be selfish, of which is insane to me.
Yeah.
And so I wondered if we could just quickly share just a few things that we do for ourselves in hopes that it may inspire someone else to do that kind of thing for them. What's something that you do for yourself, Linda, to sort of love yourself up?
Sit and watch TV and eat anything I want.
Yeah.
Good for you, Linda. I'm right beside you.
I love it.
Back when I was younger, maybe going out dancing or something. The other thing is those tapes that sometimes our parents will do on us.
Yes.
Never quite good enough, never this.
Yes.
And they really can be hard on the women too.
Very much so.
So you don't have to compare. The good news about turning my age, I don't have to compare myself anymore. I sort of love myself every day. And I love doing this work, and I love the people that I'm with. So it's kind of cool because you don't worry. But if we were to tell the younger girls, because apparently younger women are having a tough time right now. They're very, very suicidal, and, they feel so alone. A lot of girls are assaulted on dates, the very first date, and they don't report it. And I was thinking, what would you tell young women? How could you help them through this?
I would tell them two things. One, to do some journaling to find out what the cause of the non-self-love factor could be. Welcome back, Nancy.
We thought it was something we said.
No, it was the cats that were fighting earlier unplugged the Wi-Fi.
Those darn cats.
Those darn cats.
And I also think, like speaking from my own personal experience, mirror work really helped me come to terms with any negativity that I had towards myself. Mirror work really, really helped me. I speak to my reflection in the mirror as if I was speaking to my best friend. And so I try to be honest, but I also try to be kind. And I say things in a it may, like, you look tired today. So that's not necessarily positive, but I always sort of round it up with a positive. So you look tired today. You deserve some, you deserve some time, a cup of tea, a bath, something of that nature. And I find it has helped me in so many ways, but mirror work, I strongly urge people to give that a shot. But just as a little warning, be amazed at the amount of emotions that will pour out of you Standing in front of the mirror looking at yourself is really hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
It is. We're so critical of what we see.
100%. Well, and I mean, we don't even necessarily know some of the things. And I started using mirror work, not to go on a side note, but I started using mirror work before I realized that mirror work was an actual thing or a technique. I did it to assist myself when I was having so many panic attacks. I have a theory that you can't lie to yourself. And so if I looked myself square in the eyes and sort of went like, what is happening? And then to say to myself, like, you're fine, you're okay. I could like talk myself down. Because I could see the fear in my eyes, and I was sort of like comforting myself while looking at myself and while talking myself down, if that makes sense. So that's how that whole thing works for me. What about you, Aley? What's something that you do to love yourself up?
I guess I'm creative in some way. I remember the tapes in my head, and you weren't supposed to love yourself because that was an ego. And that was something that wasn't really, or I remember going into the ladies' room with other girls, and they're all worried about their hair and their makeup and everything, and they had to look beautiful, and there was this feeling of competition between girls for the guy or whatever, and it was so disgusting when I think about it. And so I think I would take a girl under my wing and say to her, there's more to life than this. As a matter of fact, I just read an article that said, what if friendship is the most important relationship you have, not your love relationship? And that really spoke to me. So I will turn to my girlfriends and say, I'm having a bad day. Like, I just got my shingles shot and my arm hurts,
Yeah.
And so they go, oh, I'm sorry, but it's just, it's an understanding and compassion.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Love it. What about you, Nancy Jean? What do you do to love yourself up?
I agree with Aley. I do something creative. Linda G has one of my creative things right there.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Let's put her in the hot seat while she shows that.
Okay. That's reflection. I think it's one of the prettiest grids I ever did.
It really is. You made a beautiful one for my husband.
It vibrates with the energy I get off of it.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know if you knew Linda, but I was challenged I do work with earth energies, and I was studying ley lines, and I was talking to an Englishman who douses and removes negative energy and follows ley lines. And he lives near York, and he was on my show, and he said, your grids are beautiful. Why don't you make one for the world? Oh, that's not contentious at all. Let's make one for the world. And so I thought, sure, you make one for the world. But anyway, I did make one for the world, and we
did that on Christmas, didn't we?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's the Merkaba, and it's and the background was chosen because I had two different readers pull cards, and they had.
Nancy Jean, put that back up again. Let everybody see it up close. I was too busy looking at it. I wasn't paying attention. How beautiful is that?
It's the Merkaba, and it's got a lot of the same stones you've got on yours, Linda. But
I like the leaves. I like the leaves in between them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One of them was picked heart, and then the other person drew the Merkaba, and I thought, well, I'd do it, and we ended up having it. We fired it up at midnight in York. It's 6:00 in the evening here.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
So I work with those. When I work with that stuff, I feel really joined up with the universe.
Yeah.
And I just finished another one today, and it's quite pretty. It's got the weirdest stones in it. It's got this is called cherry quartz.
Pretty.
That's pretty.
It's a gorgeous shade of pink, and I've seen it, but I hadn't been able to get my hands on any. Anyway, that's what I do. The stones keep me calm. My house is full of them. Well, you can see behind me. It goes. It keeps going.
Nancy Jean's just got a few stones in her collection over there at her house.
Yeah,
and it's really cool, the world grid, because we did that on Christmas night. Remember, you came and
Mm-hmm.
you sort of laid out the outline, and it was, I mean, what a beautiful thing to do on Christmas to sort of, inspire, to motivate, and sort of to instill hope, right? Joy.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right. And then somebody said, well, you're going to send it to all the people you have around the world that follow you and just have it be in each country. And I'm like, y'all don't know about postal rates, do you?
No, I know.
They're going to have to kind of look at the picture.
I don't know who named that guy, but he does have joy in his last name. That's all I'm saying. It's just really funny because it's like the joy. Anyway.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Louis.
Yeah.
No
love for him.
No.
Let's not dwell on the low liars.
No, we're not going there. So self-love, this is such an interesting, I don't know how I found this thing, but this, I want to share this with you. Self-love. It is the unconditional support and compassion that you give yourself that ultimately translates to good health, great self-esteem, happiness, total balance, and well-being. Self-love is the basic necessity and fundamental positive value that leads to your inner peace and your inner happiness. I mean, I got that from Google, so shout out to Google on Valentine's Day for that. All right. Do you lovely ladies have a card, a crystal, just a download, anything? I would like to just throw a card talking about that self-love and sort of let's put a message of love out into the universe for the collective.
Okay.
I'm going to use my
Just
cat
one
wisdom.
card?
Yeah, just any card you want. I'm going to use my cat wisdom oracle, because why not? I am dozen cats after all, so I'll have to get some dog cards now, Aley.
Now you will. Absolutely.
Aley gifted me these cat wisdom oracle cards, and I absolutely adore them. They're beautiful. They speak to me. Ha ha ha. Hi, everybody in the chat. Thank you for being here. Happy Love Day to all of you. Please make sure that you hit the thumbs up. I appreciate the support. And if you're not already familiar with these fantastic ladies that have joined me today, we have Nancy Jean from Nancy Jean's Garden, Aley from Heart and Soul Connected, Linda G, the Comanche Psychic. Show them some love, friends. Show them some love. All right, whenever you're ready, ladies.
Okay, I've got. I didn't know what I was going to do with this. I was at the rock shop yesterday getting that lovely cherry quartz and some other things, and when I got in my car, in a pocket of my purse I never open up, this crystal was in there. I do not remember buying it, and it was wrapped in a kind of plastic wrap that is not from the store I was just in. I don't know who gave it to me. This is a non-gem quality sapphire.
Oh, okay.
And it's really, really pretty. And it's got blues and then a little bit of reds. There are such things as
gorgeous.
Yeah. But, this is what I can. When I was looking at it last night, I realized that's one of those fun surprises in your life where you go into a pocket of your purse that you weren't expecting to find anything.
Yeah.
And we have days like that. We have weeks like that. I have readings like that with people.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but because I'm going to just tell everybody what kind of person I am in this next statement. So here's just a little funny total side note. But when you do that, when you find that thing in the purse or in the pocket, do you then go to every other pocket and look for more?
No.
Oh, I totally do. I totally do. If I find a $5 bill in an old coat that I pull out of the closet, I'm like, cha-ching. And then you sit down and you're like, no, there's got to be more. I mean, if you find one, there's going to be more, right? The couch cushions are upside down. No, anyway,
yeah.
Sorry.
No, I didn't, because this purse was relatively new, and I had not hardly used it at all. So I guess the universe just wanted to be nice, and I had to go and use the rock identifier program on my cell phone to figure out which stone it was.
That's really cool. What about you, Linda? What do you got?
I got the 5 of Pentacles, which is almost like a comfort. I also consider this past lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like give comfort to yourself. Give comfort to others and to yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself.
I love that.
Beautiful.
I mean, sometimes it would be considered sort of a Debbie Downer card as far as finances are concerned, but it actually is. When you say specifically that, it's when I saw it, I said, give comfort to yourself.
Yeah.
Don't be
It
so
depends
hard
on the situation. I agree.
because we've all come out of a battlefield. And a lot of things that happened is because we made an agreement before we got here. So just give comfort to yourself and your past life self.
Beautiful. What about you, Miss Aley? I was going to say,
I have two things to share, and I think it's interesting that Linda pulled that, because what I got was give recognition to yourself.
Yeah.
Recognize yourself. And I remember when I first started my journey here that I was like, everybody else can do this thing, but I can't. And, you know, I'm no good at it or whatever. I don't know if I could do it. And I was very down on myself that way because everybody seemed so much higher up on the ladder. And then I realized, just be who you are. Just be, be who you are, and recognize that everybody has a gift, and you should make sure that you follow that. The other thing I have is a blue stone, like you, Nancy Jean. Mine is Trollite, and I adore it.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Really?
And it helps remove your blocks or obstacles that are in the way of your spiritual journey. So actually, it goes along with this card in a lot of ways. You know, it really does. Thank you.
Well, that was beautiful. I love that stone. And all I've got is that my card is similar to the color. This is the Cat Wisdom Oracle that I got as a Christmas present from my wonderful friend, Miss Aley from Heart and Soul Connected. And I think this kind of goes with everything that we're saying. Just feast your eyes on that. I mean, if that doesn't make you smile, I don't know. You've got territorial and find your place. You know, as a reader, I can say to you, probably the question that I've been asked the most, generalizing, is about finding the spot, the direction. You know, what about the end of the journey? You know what I mean? Like, where am I going? How am I going to get there? What am I going to do?
What are my gifts?
That thing, right?
Yeah.
Finding our place speaks to us about comfort, in my opinion. It is the place where you feel where you can stretch your muscles and because you're trusting it, right? Because you feel comfortable within it. You feel supported and embraced and sort of your foundation is more stable when your place speaks to you and your place works for you. So I think that's a really cool card.
It is.
Look at that, friends. Who knew? Who knew that we could do stuff like that? It's like we planned it. All right. So what I would love to know in the chat, if you all would want to participate. So I asked everyone in the beginning of the month of February, because I named it Matters of the Heart. And I asked everyone to share with me, if you want, what matters to your heart. And while you all think about that, I will share this with you. So I started a little segment here called The Dozen Cats Journal Entry. I know, it's like, wow, what a title. And it's just me sharing my thoughts. And so I thought, well, I'll follow along with that exercise that I asked everyone to share with me what matters to their heart. And so I wrote down in my journal what matters to my heart. And I came up with two things: peace and contentment. Again, it's going to make me cry. So everyone that knows me knows that I was diagnosed with anxiety panic disorder, and I own it. It does not define me, but I share it because I know how this community helped me, and I am so far removed from where I am, so much closer to being this brand new shiny dime in terms of my journey. And while I was writing that and talking about it, all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I already have it. I have already achieved that peace and contentment that I once wished that I could achieve. And I didn't even realize that I had achieved it. Again, I mean, what a blessing, first and foremost. But the point is, I was so busy wanting something that I didn't bother to check in with myself to recognize that I had already arrived at that spot. So I missed parts of that journey. And sometimes the steps of the journey, that's where the beautiful part is. It's not just
Absolutely.
the outcome. So that's me sharing with you all what matters to my heart. And in that moment of sharing that, I recognized so many other things that matter to my heart. And that is that I check in with myself and that I recognize, where I am at each step. So we have lots of beautiful things being shared in the chat, and I want to share them with all of you on the screen. I'm going to try and get everyone's up here. So we have Hypnocity says humanity. Lisa Foster says laughter, nature, and animals. I love that. Thank you, Mackenzie, for acknowledging that you have it. I say it because, I spent almost 11 years now being blamed and shamed, and I say it out loud, not because I want to put it out in the universe, but because
What's the name of it again? I'm sorry.
I have anxiety panic disorder.
Oh, yeah. It's very common for some reason.
It is. And it's shame. You get shamed and blamed, and I'm just trying to take the shame and the blame away from it. Dinah says, wow, wonderful. Thank you, Dinah. And Lisa, you're right. It is the lesson. What matters to your hearts, ladies?
I can tell you what matters to my heart. That in my quest was being proven beyond a reasonable doubt that there is no such thing as death. When you know this is just a trial run and you're not going to die, okay? Your physical self goes, but your spiritual self lives on. And when you can relax with that, a lot of the other things just sort of calm you down because this too shall pass. And also vibrationally, if you get out of your own way, because you're never going to get it all done, you're never going to get it all right. But if you get out of your own way and you breathe and you stand in the realm, vibrationally, you bring your levels up. So thus, when I started practicing the breathing, you'll notice the things you ask for come true rather fast. I've been talking about this till I'm blue in the face, but it works. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I love that. You know what worked for me, I never could get the breathing thing. And I think that's because I was very focused on it. Like I was given all kinds of things and different, and in a variety of therapy sessions, I was given lots of different tools, which I'm very grateful for. But what worked for me was tapping. But I mean, everybody's panic attack is a different experience, even though most panic attacks have the same sort of, we'll say, qualities to them, right? But tapping worked for me. I can do the breathing now. I couldn't do it before, though, which I just think is interesting. But that's a really good point that Linda raises, because if something works for someone else and it doesn't work for you, that doesn't mean stop. That means try something different, right? There's so many tools that we can use in that toolbox, and knowing that we have that toolbox sometimes is half the battle. Just knowing that you have that in your,
and also that asking, giving that realm, asking them for help. Sometimes we're too closed off. We think we have to handle all this on our own. Sometimes when my daughter got COVID, she has lung disease. So I immediately started to panic. And I was thinking and I was praying, and that man that talks to me in my radio, he said, practice what you preach.
Right.
And I said, oh, you're right. So I went to the worst case scenario with her, is that she would die. And I accepted it. And something happened. Like I got calmer, even though you don't want your child to die, being that I know there's no such thing as death, I got calmer. And the doctor said she pulled through faster than anyone. considering her
Wow.
disease.
Mhm.
Wow. I mean, amazing that she's okay now.
She's okay.
And what a great lesson that you just taught everybody, because we are not taught anything about death unless you've
Well, we
experienced
try to hide it in the old days, even in the
it. Oh
1800s.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You laid your kinfolk out in the parlor
Mhm.
and you washed them, and you had people. Sometimes you had to put them outside where it was frozen because you couldn't bury them. So people
Right.
were looking at death. Now you don't. As a nurse who worked trauma, and I couldn't talk about my job. People don't want to hear about death.
No, they don't.
They don't want to know about it.
No. And because we don't talk about it, we don't learn about it. We don't learn how to navigate it. We don't learn how to express it. And everyone deals with death and grief in a
Different way.
different way.
But also the main key is that don't fear it. People fear it too much.
Well, I
You're
think we
so
fear it because we
scared.
don't.
And
we
I don't blame you
understand.
because you don't know where the hell you're going. Well, I've seen where we're going. Let me tell you, I'm looking forward to heading over there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Nancy Jean, what matters to your heart, love?
Right now, it's really taking care of myself because I've done
Yes.
enough years of taking care of everybody else. But when you're talking about meditative techniques, that's the one that Kelly and I did the other day.
Yes.
Ooh,
And
nice.
it's
Let me
called
put
Get
you. I'm going to put
Motivated.
you in the hot seat. Hold on a sec, Terry.
Sure.
There you go.
Okay. It's called neurographic drawing. And what you do is you start out with just a line drawing. You just sit there and unconsciously draw on a piece of paper. And you can find it. There's all kinds of YouTube channels about it. But it's a meditation technique. By the time you go in and you start fixing these lines the way they tell you to, it was developed by a psychiatrist in Russia in 2014 to help people with depression and anxiety. And it's just amazing because you'll sit there and I just wanted to try it because as much as I'd love to sit and think, and I know I breathe because if I didn't breathe, then I wouldn't be here. But a lot of the meditations say, go get quiet in the corner. Well, my mind doesn't do quiet real well.
Yeah, no, me
So I found this, and you draw it in, and then you pull out some just markers and you start filling it in. I also paint with watercolors, and you start by asking your brain to think about this, and then you say, okay, we're not thinking about it now, we're just drawing lines. And eventually you come up with something that becomes a whole picture. And it did help me get motivated. I came in and I decided I really am going to work with this office. But
Nancy Jean, can you say the name of that technique again, please?
neuro, like Neuro, like neurons, neurographic. Graphic as in drawing, GRAPHIC. And trust me, I mean, there's some really good instructors in it, and they're like 10-minute tutorials, and just try it. And I found that for me, since one of the other things I do to meditate is to knit, it's like that kind of an activity. Your mind, you get out of your mind and you're focused on something else, and that's when I have my best hits about somebody just put it in the notes. Walking in nature would be lovely too, but I have 2 artificial knees and I get freaked on sidewalks even. So walking's not a great thing for me. I used to go out in nature and I go out to look for ley lines and energies, and just my mind just keep moving. I guess I'm like a shark. I just have to keep it moving. And that's how I got into energy work and ley lines and crystal grids for that matter. I mean, that's because my original gig was card reading.
Yeah. Aley, what about you, love? What do you do? What I mean, in terms of what matters to your heart, what when I say that, what comes to your mind?
My first thought was how calming this community has made me, how totally different I am as a person. Not that I was, nasty or, but it's just that I was always worried about everything. And everything's, like Henny Penny.
Yeah.
And I found such great energy, caring, love, and I love watching it. I love sharing with the people here. I love learning from them. I love teaching with them. So it's really it really has made a huge impact on me, and took me a long time because I just turned
Absolutely.
67. But
Oh, God.
I also love what Linda said, and I love what Nancy Jean said. My 95-year-old friend has been trying to get me to do neurographics forever. She does them every day, and she absolutely loves them. And she's got some beauties that she shows. In fact, way in the beginning, when I first started my channel, she came on and did some. So, but it was when I might have had 5 people looking at my videos.
Yeah.
But the other thing is the calming helps me a lot too, because I really, like Linda said, I don't have a fear of death. In fact, I teach it in all my classes at the college. We read books about it. We talk about it. We won't stray from it. And it really helped me a lot when my brother died last month. So I just know he's in a really good place and everything's a-okay. It just makes me happy. You know, not that he's dead, of course, but that he's happy. He's relaxed. He's
well, and
free.
the other part is like, my father really suffered. I don't know if you had kin folk that had suffered pretty bad. And there's this weird energy. Some people feel guilty about it because partly they're happy they're gone, and then they feel guilty. Oh, but they're glad because they're not struggling anymore.
Right.
It's what society has taught us, really.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, they're happy over there too. Woo! I'm glad.
And the hospitals will tell you. With my brother, my sister-in-law didn't want to tell her husband to go, you know. And finally, the night she did, she held her hand and said, "You need to go," and he did within 15 minutes. Wow. He was just waiting. That's all. Just waiting to be told it was okay.
I did the same for my mom.
For mom, yeah.
We never had a conversation in 2.5 years about, you know, her passing. And I went to the hospital one day, and my aunts, my mom's sisters, were outside in the hallway crying, and I thought, oh my God, what's happened? Which is never a great way when you walk in the hospital to see that. And I went down the hall, and they said, like, she's barely speaking. She just keeps asking for her special angel. And that was me. That was the song that she used to play before I was born. So anyway, I will not sing it to you, so I'll save you from that. So I went into the room.
We know what it is. We're all in that generation.
and my mom, I mean, she wasn't speaking, and she grabbed my shirt and like brought me right to her face like that, and just like her eyes. And I said, "Mom, it's okay. I know you're tired. It's okay."
Yeah, we're the ones that suffer, really.
Yeah, she never spoke again. And she waited for my sister to get there, and then, you know, and then she waited for me to leave the hospital after 16 hours, and then she passed. Literally the minute I left the parking lot. But to the point that you all make, you know, we are the ones that suffer because I think many times that we are so busy trying to lift that person and push out hope. At least that was my experience. That we never stopped to think about, you know, what was going to happen if that was, you know, when the passing actually occurred, and all of that pent up emotion and you know, because you're busy and you're making plans and you're doing things, you don't sort of allow yourself to release it. That I think is very detrimental. And I think that's another thing that we're not taught is how to deal with our emotions in that particular way. But anyways, let us move past that, because here is what I just picked up from what Nancy Jean said, from what Linda said, and what Aley said. And that is the hope that can come from someone passing, really, is understanding that they're not suffering anymore, understanding that they're in a better place, understanding that you now have someone that you can communicate with all the time. Like, you don't have to wait till they're home to book an appointment for lunch or whatever. You know what I mean? My mom is with me. My mom is everywhere around me. And I don't need anyone to tell me that, because I just feel it. And that's the best part. You know, my mom is with me all the time. I don't have to, like, you know, fight to get to her house. You know what I mean? Where it was like a 2.5 hour drive one way, and it was like terrible traffic, and my stepfather was a jerk and blah, 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 yada, yada. We can go on and on and on. The point that I'm trying to make is it's hopeful, really, if you allow yourself to see it in the right way, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
I did a show with.
I love this. Sorry, Nancy Dean, I didn't mean to cut you off. Eliza Bassett says, stoicism is a horrible way to be with emotions left over from Victoria times. 100% agree, Eliza. Thank you so much for saying that.
Actually, it's left over from Roman times. I mean,
been around a while. Yeah.
My mom used to say, don't ever let them see you sweat. And I was one time accused. I say it was an accusation because it came from a family member, so it felt like an accusation. Sadly, I had 2 first cousins commit suicide, not at the same time, 1 year apart. The second cousin committed suicide because he couldn't deal with the first cousin who committed suicide. So there we were, the family, in the same place, the same circumstances, basically for the same reason. And, my aunt is walking around with a garbage can in front of her. My uncle is on the floor in the fetal position. My grandmother's out there, passing out. It was like a total you-know-what show, as to be expected under the circumstances. And one of my other cousins walked past me and said, "You look like you work here." And I was like, "I beg your pardon?" And she said, "You show absolutely no emotion."
That's your business.
You don't have to display your emotions.
I know. There's no rules around it. Right? Yeah, I know.
And, you knew that. But I will say, and I love my mama. This is not a negative or a derogatory thing. I was not taught to be. It was not okay to just, you know what I mean? That was not okay.
Mm-hmm. When my grandma died, who I beloved, she was most wonderful. She dropped dead at 57. My mom and dad went to identify her at the morgue and go to her place and get her things. And dad came home with beet red eyes, a red nose. He looks at us 3 kids and he says, "Your grandma's dead. She's gone. There's no looking back. I don't want to see a sniffle out of you."
That just gave me total chills.
He was born in 33.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. It's that generation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow.
Well, I did a show with Danny and a couple of other people, and he based it on a show I did because I did a show the night that I turned exactly the age my husband was when he died. And I talked about, I'd always, he died in 2004. So I had all these years to say, oh, Bill was so much older than he was 20 years older than I was anyway. And, and all that. But then I sat there and I realized I am exactly as many days old as he was. And now I'm on my own. And so I did. And so I talked about Bill. My church had a thing on death and dying and teaching you all the guidelines and when you can tell the doctors to pull the plugs and how to get all the letters together and how to handle all that stuff. And Bill and I had already gone through all that before I went into my high-risk pregnancy with my last child. So we had it all written out. If it's going this way, Bill said, they're taking that baby. I'm going to protect you, And the baby made it. So, and it started out at 4.5 pounds and is now 6'4". So they
gotta love it.
But we did a whole show on that because, and at the end, I worked with the doctors and I told them what they were going to do and what they weren't going to do. Now, my father was a doctor. And when I told him I wasn't going to let them do any of the extraordinary stomach shunt things and all that crap, he said, "You're in the fight of your life because in my profession, we consider death a defeat. And they don't want to be defeated. They And he said, and I said, "Daddy, I'll just look him straight in the eye and said, it's not your body. Get the hell out." And I actually got hugged by one surgeon who had to come in and explain an extraordinary treatment. And I said, "Doctor, I think there's things that are worse than dying. And that treatment you just explained to me was." And he hugged me. And he's the guy who invented it. And he came up and he hugged me and he whispered in my ear, "You're right." So you got to stand up. And the thing is, you need to think about death before you get there. So when Bill was dying, I knew what the lines were. He said, "You get me out of here with the least pain possible." We did it. and he crossed, and he waited till everybody else got out of the room except me, and he just looked at me and said goodbye, and he was gone.
Oh,
So, and I'm not, I mean, but the reason we did the show was Danny had a totally opposite sort of experience where he walked into the hospital. His whole family was in a blue tail panic because his sister had some health crisis, and they're all running around. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And they'd never discussed it in their family.
Sure.
And so if there's one lesson you learn on this Valentine's Day is I hope all your hearts beat warmly today, but when they don't need to beat anymore, you let them go.
Love your family enough to leave what you want done behind.
Yes.
Oh,
Very important. With that point that we all just made, here comes another quote. This is from Buddha.
Hi, guy.
I was thinking of you, Aley, when I got this. We are shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think. When the mind is pure, joy follows like a shadow that never leaves us. That's really kind of deep, but it's not like profound. You know what I mean? It's like deep in terms of like, wow, if I only ever had a thought of it like that before, imagine all the emotions I could have saved myself.
Could have saved yourself from, I know.
Yeah.
So really think about that, you guys, in terms of happiness, the in-between stuff that we don't necessarily put into a category until something upsets us or bothers us, and then the not so good stuff, right?
Right.
Allow yourself to understand that no matter what your thought is, that we become what we think. So, yeah, of course, run it through your mind, because you're going to, whether you want to or you don't. It's important to recognize that if you take some of the negativity out, if it comes out in that way, that your negative, inner critic will kick into high gear and be like, hey, they're like the germs for the stomach flu, that guy right there.
Yeah. If you want something to change the way you think about it.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Well said. So that brings me to this lovely quote here by Robert H. Schuller. Let your hopes, not your hurts, shape your future.
There you go.
Because I find that the negative inner thinker or the negative self-critic is influenced by our past pains, our past experiences, our past traumas, etc., that we haven't been able to get past, to be able to release, to let go, to forgive, whatever the case may be. It grabs a hold of us, almost like in a chokehold, and sort of sticks you on that spot and says, wait a minute, what about this? Every single time something comes up that might even remotely look or feel like that once did to you. Do you know what I mean? It really grabs a hold of you. So again, let your hopes, not your hurts, shape your future. I love that. That's great. I was having all kinds of fun finding all these friends. They're great. And the last one I'm going to say is this. Peace begins with a smile. And that is by Mother Teresa. And now I'm going to hopefully not embarrass you ladies. So that brings me to this point. Miss Aley, I don't want to cry, but I'm going to. I love you dearly. You are the reason I'm here. And you gave me an opportunity and a platform and told me that my voice was important, which, I mean, what a gift to receive. I mean, it's so lovely, right? And so I love you for that. Miss Nancy Jean put her on this spot without her even realizing that I was putting her on this spot, and said, please teach me tarot. And she did. She gave me the confidence, not just because she taught me, but because she taught me at an equal level. She invites me onto her channel, and she comes to my channel, and she treats me as if we've been friends our whole entire life.
Well, you're a Canadian. What am I going to do?
That's right.
So that leaves us with Miss Linda G. Now, Miss Linda G came to visit Dozen Cats November the 6th of 2022, one day before my 1-year channel anniversary. And I said to you that day, the grace that you show all of the channels in this community, not to mention all of your subscribers, is absolutely, it is so profound and it is so big. I don't know another word to use. It is such a lesson for so many people to grab a hold of and run with, because that's grace at its finest, right? That is love. That's hope. That's putting a smile out into the universe and then just allowing everyone to like grab a hold of it, right? Smiles are contagious. Linda shares her smile, her humor, her gifts with all of us, keeps us calm, keeps us happy, as does Nancy Jean, as does Aley. I just want to say you all make me smile, and thank you so much for joining on the Day of Love.
And let me tell you, I was instructed to start a YouTube channel in my ear.
Yeah.
How many years ago? 5 years ago. And then they told me to gather everybody else. So in other words, like somebody told me, I heard you say on your show, come on, I know there's more of you out here. Because not everybody's going to be into me or my style. They might be more into a different reader. Or some people just like to do all readers. But the main thing is that we all have to support each other. And we just keep plugging the same message. And that's all that counts, is to love and be loved.
Perfect. And you shared Gerard Butler with us all the time.
Absolutely.
Except I cook for him all the time. I'm getting tired of that.
Right.
You got a new movie coming out, Linda. Did you know?
I saw it playing.
Oh, you did see it already?
I saw it, yeah.
Awesome.
Hello, crash screen, sky blue. This girl was at the movie theater the morning of.
Why do I know that? That's true.
I love
dragging my kids with me, and they were pissed. They said, you owe us an apology.
So here's what I want to say really, really quick. Again, I want you all in the chat to know how much I appreciate you, how much I love you, how much I truly, genuinely appreciate your support. You guys have changed my life before I had a channel, and you continue to do it since I've had a channel, by supporting me, by sharing your deepest and your most hurtful past pains or present pains, and the trust and the faith that you have in me and in this channel and in the community that we have sort of created here at Dozen Cats. It is not lost on me. I wish each of you the very best love day possible. Absolutely. I want you to go out there and do something absolutely fabulous or fantastic for yourself or for someone else that you love today. Friends,
eat chocolate.
Yeah, take a nap.
Take a nap. And listen, your stories to all of us mean a lot, you guys. There's not one person written me with their story that
we learned from you.
I'm honored that you know, I can't answer all my emails because they're just too much. I have to hire people, but it's your stories is just wonderful. That's why I try to reach out live as much as I can.
Hi, Jody. I want to, sorry, go ahead, Nancy Jean.
I have one comment. I pulled a card, and it's just surrender to your inner peace.
Oh,
and just
that's what I ask for all the time.
And enjoy. And the last statement is, others will feel your good vibes true, and your life will flow more easily. So,
amen.
Work on those vibrations, guys, and don't work on them. Do what that lady did. Just dive off and do it.
There you go. And that's exactly what I look like in a bathing suit.
Me too.
When you modeled for that picture, I thought you did. You modeled for that.
It's like looking in the mirror.
Right.
I told one of my
talk about mirror work.
I have a friend who does a lot of ET stuff, and I told her, I'm never going in your damn spaceship. You're not putting me in my body in one of those suits. I don't care.
Love it. Do you all want to pull a card? I think that's a great idea. Let's pull a card as we leave. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. Happy Love Day to all of you. I got a puppy for Valentine's Day, and
wow, I love that you use the Morgan Greer deck. That was
I love this Morgan Greer deck.
When I was first reading, that's the deck I read at all the psychic fairs. I love it.
You're raking in your just rewards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. And I like the borderless decks. I really do. And I like that one too.
All right. So this is what we're going to do. Okay. So this is the, what is this? The Guardian Angel Messages Tarot. So we're going to ask Spirit to give us a message. And we're not going to choose a card. Spirit usually helps by throwing one out for me. We have the Release card. So this is, in the traditional tarot, this is the Death and Rebirth card. In this deck, it's called the Release card. Now, just look at that image with the angel on it and all of those beautiful white flowers. Endings, transformation, and freedom.
The Phoenix.
Awesome.
Right? Let it go.
Let it go.
If it doesn't serve you, let it go and bring that joy back in. Right? Bring that joy back in. And, of course, I did pull an oracle card because, I love my oracle cards. And this is what I got. The universe has my back.
Awesome. Yeah.
Universe has my back.
So to what Linda had said earlier, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're always
I got the unknown, which is okay. We don't need to be so fearful of change and what's in front of us. There's that leaping again. I got these most beautiful cards called Oracle of Portals.
Beautiful.
And I absolutely love them. I just feel really a good resonance with them. But don't be afraid of the unknown. You are supported. You are always supported.
I love it. All right, real quick.
Can I do a message real quick?
Yes, of course.
To everyone, please, a prayer to a gentleman named Troy who was shot in Michigan. Three shots to his chest. He's going in for surgery yet again. He's a client of mine's grandson's friend. So,
wow.
And that's weird. That's my dad's name.
Yeah.
A prayer out for Troy.
Of course. Yep. We send our prayers to Troy and
to all the people who've been wounded unnecessarily and just
absolutely
someone else's random depression.
I'd like to send one out to Heather Johnson, who's in our community. She has her own channel. She's got COVID and her partner has COVID, and they've not had shots because they couldn't get them because of her problems she had. She's having a really tough time.
Oh, it's terrible.
So please send out a lot of love to Heather and her
to
partner.
Yeah. What are you guys going to do for Valentine's Day, by the way? Just before we...
I've already started it. I'm doing a slow cooker pot roast. That's roast. It's a chuck roast, and you put brown gravy mix on it and ranch dressing mix, and you rub it on. You put a stick of butter on top, and you cook it for 9 hours, and it is the best.
I need to write you, Nancy, and just write that down for me so I can.
Everything's better with butter.
Your email, girl.
Okay.
Everything's better with butter is all I'm saying. So
I'll tell you right now, I put a slab of butter in even on my thigh so I can move faster.
Right? Oh yeah. I mean,
I'm making spaghetti.
That's
spaghetti.
My kids used to say, Mama, can you make us some spaghetti?
Right.
It's called Auntie Kelly noodles in my family because, hello. Apparently I eat a lot of pasta, but that's what we're having for dinner too. It's my comfort food. It's my go-to food, and it comes from Italy, which is where all the romance happens. That's, in my head, I made that up.
Have you ever made your own pasta, Kelly?
I can't because I'm allergic to eggs. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you've got your.
I've never made my own.
It would be some kind of funny looking pasta with me making
I was a chef's apprentice at the Fairmont Hotel in the pastry kitchen, so I know how to make all kinds of pastries.
Oh my God.
I'm not afraid of any kind of pastries, and so pasta's kind of a pastry in a way.
And, I love it. All right, ladies, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your Valentine's Day with all of us. Thank you to everyone in the chat for joining us. Happy Valentine's Day to you all. Make sure that you love yourself up. because you're very special to all of us. And until we see each other again, we wish you many, many blessings.
Okay.
Love to everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Everybody.